Hello and welcome back, everybody, to Chicago Clash. I am actually joining me again on the caster desk is Victor Ong. Vic, we are in for not only a Charizard mirror, but a team mirror.
Yes, the Shuffle Squad represents. I am part of the caster division, but we have two players part of the player division here on the table, and I think they're ready for us. So let's go ahead and send it down.
Whenever it's ready, we're ready. I'm excited. This is going to be an interesting mirror because these lists are they must both be playing Hero Capes. And they have so many like weird texts. And the double Manaphy start too. This is everything you could hope for and more. Double Buddy Pop in here for Josh.
Ooh, two Buddy Poppins off the top. That's exactly what you want to see as a Charizard player.
Yeah, I do believe at this point Josh is effectively locked into cut. Jeremy has no way to get into cut with the 1-3 record. But they're going to play it out here, and it's going to be a good time. And I'm very excited for this match.
I think Jeremy will concede to Josh regardless of the result, but maybe they're playing for interview privileges at this point.
I have been told that they're going to interview each other.
I don't know how that really works, but I guess we'll let it happen.
Yeah, I'm excited. We'll make it fun. I have full faith. These two are great, so very excited for this. And yeah, double Buddy Poffin means double Pidgey, double Charmander off the rip here for Josh. Normally, like going first with Zard is kind of scary.
Right.
But not with this start.
Definitely not, at least as far as we can tell. Have to take a peek at the rest of Josh's hand. But yeah, like you were saying, typically in the mirror, if you want to go second, generally, because it's just more consistent, you get an easier access to your Pidgeot. But if you do get this great start going first, actually going first is probably a little bit better, assuming that your hand is good. So Josh maybe going to reap the rewards of that coin flip here, depending on if he's able to get a Pidgeot out next turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no Rotom, no Nest Balls too. Yeah. There's two Nest Balls prize, so it's tough. He's going to pass very gently. And now it is Jeremy's turn. We'll see what he can get. Double. I almost call it double Buddy Poffin. It's Buddy Poffin.
Buddy Poffin.
Buddy Poffin. Getting two of those basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less down. Is also going to have a decent start here. One thing to note is we were talking a lot about Gouging Fire last round. And guess what? Gouging Fire is back for this event. For this match. Super excited. I believe Jeremy's list is the one that has it.
Yeah, I think so too. But I can double check. But in the meantime, that Gouging Fire card, I would say it's a little bit less powerful in this deck.
Josh is showing us their hand. Thank you very much, Josh.
So I think
it's pretty good.
It did look good. It's a little bit less powerful in this deck than it is in Tyler's deck. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit harder to activate. You need to basically expend one of your Charizard EX's Infernal Rains to charge it up, essentially. So we'll see if it ends up being a factor in this matchup. I believe it's probably not for the mirror. I think it's more for along the lines of like those arc matchups where you can KO those basic Vs pretty easily. We'll see if it ends up mattering. But Jeremy grabbing two Charmanders with that Poffin. Will we get as hot of a start? I'm not sure. Depends if Gem is able to get that Pidgey down.
And another Buddy Poffin. These are very interesting matchups. Very, very interesting just starts here for both of our players. Is going to get the Pidgey and the Charmander. So just the one Pidgey, confident that Josh will not knock it out the following turn. One thing to note, too, it's the other Pidgey as well.
Yes.
60 HP Pidgey.
Well, the other Pidgey's prize, so I guess that's why.
Makes sense, yeah. Probably playing both. And yeah, the other thing to note, too, is it looks like they're both playing the Hero's Cape A-Spec, which is one that is seen play in and out of Charizard. Some people like it, some people don't. Lets you have a 430 HP Charizard if you want.
It does, that's
which
true.
is kind of disgusting. 330 HP Gouging Fire actually seems pretty good, too.
We got some shenanigans on screen. Triple Charmander, the triple Pidgey. 5 Charmanders on screen right now. 2 Manaphy's. But yes, you're right. The Hero's Cape can be pretty interesting. I think it kind of depends on if Vacuum is accessible or not. So I think it definitely has a lot more value if your opponent doesn't have Pidgeot down. And one card
collapsed and passed, and immediately bumped by the Temple of Sinnoh.
Basically doesn't matter in this matchup.
Right.
It is a stadium bump, at the very least. We do see Arvin come down, so I think Josh is going to take the prize lead in this game. I would have to imagine. I would have to assume.
Yeah, and one thing to note, too, there's another tech that is actually relevant in this mirror is the TM Devolution, one that saw a lot of play last format and is not really seeing any play right now, but that makes it even more powerful. Your opponent's not expecting it. Is going to Arvin here for Nest Ball and Hero's Cape.
I'm going to take a second to check who has the Devo, because I think it could matter in a big way.
I want to say it's got to be Jeremy's then. No, it might be. It might be Josh's. I think it is Josh's. Well, you'll see momentarily. Or they might both be playing it.
It looks like Gem is not playing it.
Okay.
So Josh is the one playing the Devo, grabbing this Rotom with the Pidgeot, maybe choosing not to attack this turn. Not sure if they even can.
Mm-hmm.
4 Sealstone being prized is kind of unfortunate.
Right.
Usually you want to use that in the early game to get your board set up. But instead, we have the Pidgeot. Might just be an instant charge for 3 and pass on over back to Jeremy.
Jeremy draws for turn. Let's see if Jeremy has a somewhat nicer hand here. I thought Josh's hand... Oh, no, just a pass. All right. I thought Josh's hand was better because I saw the Candy Pidgeot kind of ready to go, but I guess that was it. I guess that was all that was actually ready.
I think Sealstone would have been enough to attack that turn.
Right.
But not in the deck.
Oh, and you see the Gengar there, the Ghastly, with its powerful Allure attack letting you draw a card. No, this is not why the Ghastly's there. The Ghastly's there just to be comboed with the Gengar to give you an out and an option against control. It's not a foolproof option, but it is an option, allowing you to switch your active Pokemon, floating adventure Pokemon once per turn. You already play Rare Candy, so really easy to get it out generally, but susceptible to being prized, and also could just get lost zoned by a deck like Skies, where it has the Pidgeot that actually attacks and isn't just a Snorlax stall deck.
Right. Could get knocked
Instant
out.
charge again for Josh here.
Players taking it a bit slowly, but the Rare Candy Pidgeot coming through for Jeremy means that this match might accelerate just a little bit, might start to see a prize being taken.
Yeah, this match is weird in general for a lot of reasons because both players rely on the amount of prize cards that their opponent is taking, and they also both play Hero's Cape, which makes things even more complicated.
Yeah.
So even if Josh could attack, might be choosing not to just do it there, just to let things fall behind a little bit and take a slower game.
I wonder, Hero's Cape is kind of the less popular A-spec for the Star deck right now. I would say number 1 is the Max Belt. Number 2, honestly, might be Prime Catcher. If you include the barrel builds, I think Prime Catcher is typically pretty popular in those builds specifically. Hero's Cape being number 3. I think even in the mirror, Maximum Belt has some pretty nice uses. For example, you can KO the Pidgeot EX 2 turns early, which could end up mattering in other versions of this mirror, but not today between these two players. Sporting that Hero's Cape.
To get the Sealstone there, I believe that was off Narvin. So can grab whatever here. Can start probably attacking here. Should have the pieces necessary to do so. Is going to use the Sealstone right now. See what he grabs. He's going to grab the Charmeleon with the Flare availability, which is actually relevant if Devolution is being played against it. It does prevent all effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to that specific Pokemon. So while Devolution will target everything else it possibly can, it will not affect this Charmeleon. So, and I think we might just be a slow. Yeah, it's just going to be another instant charge here for Jeremy. The slowest game possible on both sides here. Just kind of waiting for the first attack to happen. It looks like it might happen soon here. Josh throwing down the Charizard EX, ready to go. Just has to attach one to the Manaphy, and then the other 2 on the Zard, and can start swinging. Going to throw one on Charmander. Could manually attach as well to free the Manaphy, unless Josh wants the Manaphy to die and just wait for that.
It is an interesting mirror match where sometimes going up in the prize trade feels kind of bad.
Yeah,
because
if you're not like taking substantial prizes, you know. Especially like in this scenario, right? Like whoever takes the first prize could immediately knock out Rotom V the next turn.
That's true.
Especially with Pidgeot being online and active, and that's a free 2 prizes. And the sooner that happens, the better potentially. So we're seeing the card being grabbed there. I believe it was an Arvin. See what Josh is going to do for the rest of this turn. It is an Arvin. He's going to boss instead. Going to grab the Charmeleon with the Flare Veil.
I do like this play, assuming Josh does have the Devo in the deck. I think it can be really powerful getting rid of this Charmeleon because that is one of the best ways to play around the TM Devo, just leaving that Charmeleon on the bench.
Yeah, the Hero's Cape, Josh was thinking about attaching it, decided not to. Going to hold that for a little bit longer. No need to pop it this early and get it vacuumed immediately.
True.
It's actually tricky to figure out when to play it in a matchup like this, right? Because with Pidgeot always online, they can always vacuum for it. So, and also, Airy coming down here. A big hand here for Josh. We'll see what gets grabbed. I don't know. There's a counter catcher.
There's 2 counter catchers, I think.
I think that's all you can grab except for
Ultra Ball.
An Ultra Ball.
The counter catcher going down.
That's pretty big.
It's really awkward actually for Josh here.
That's a lot of Gus just gone from the deck now.
definitely.
And now Jeremy knows exactly what's in hand, too, and can potentially play out this turn differently with that knowledge. Plenty of cards in hand. Does have the Zard EX, just needs the candy. Does have the candy, and I believe, was that a Devo in hand? No, that was something else.
Also, sorry, I misspoke earlier, but Jeremy is the one with the Devo.
Okay, so there was a Devo in hand then. Okay.
Jeremy has Devo and Gouging Fire, and Josh is playing the Gengar.
That makes sense.
So I think Jeremy has the slight advantage in this matchup. Josh, let's see.
Josh with the gentlest cut possible.
Let's see if they're able to play around this Devo at all. Maybe perhaps with a Charmeleon of some sort or a Mist Energy.
Again, Countercatcher. Countercatcher is online and is going to take that Rotom. Again, like we mentioned, can just take that knockout freely. 190 HP normally, but with one prize card taken, 180 damage from Charizard goes to 210, easy knockout, and a nice little two-prizer for Jeremy. Pidgeot EX promoted here for Josh. Temple's just going to kind of be chilling there for probably the rest of the game. I don't think unless there's one more collapse in Josh's list, which could have been relevant to potentially get rid of the Rotom. And we're seeing Josh's hand there. It was too fast. I couldn't see it. We're seeing Jeremy's hand. Has the vacuum ready to go. Has the Devo ready to go.
I guess the Pseudo is actually pretty relevant here. If Josh has Mist Energy, I have to check.
One of them has Mist Energy.
If they do. So it does look like Jeremy plays Mist Energy. I will check again if Josh does as well.
Yeah, more relevant for Josh, right? Because of the devolution.
For sure. Looks like Josh also is playing Mist Energy.
Okay, so that is a way to potentially counter the Devo play, which could be coming any moment here.
Looks like Collapse is also prized.
Yep, Collapse is
prized.
prized.
So the only way to bump this Sinnoh is Vacuum. So your Mist Energy isn't as useful as you would hope. Maybe you can utilize Charmeleon at some point, but not quite getting there just yet. Benching a second Charmander instead.
The Zard matchup is one that's always been kind of a weird one in general because of that prize mechanic and because of just how goofy a lot of the matches play out. There's so many regional stream games I've seen where it's going normally, it's going fine, and then a Devo happens, and then the game slows down for like 4 turns.
Countercatcher number 3, by the
way. And there it is. That's probably the last one. I would assume so.
I would assume.
But yeah, just kind of your thoughts on this mirror in general.
It's really weird. Yeah. Sometimes going up in prizes is bad. It also depends who's playing Devo and who's not. It depends who's playing Mist Energy and who's playing Charmeleon, the Flare Veil Charmeleon, who's not. I think one of the best lines you have in the mirror at this point in the meta is actually Max Belt Knockout Pidgeot. On this turn, for example, Josh could have done that if they had access to Max Belt, but no, Josh doesn't. So just going to have to take the knockout on a Charmander instead and try and whittle away Jeremy's resources to eventually get to a position where you can knock out the lone Charizard on field. Yeah, and this Hero Cape, it's kind of tough to figure out when to play it and when to actually get good value out of it. Because again, with Pidgeot Online, they can always get the Lost Vacuum whenever needed. So it's not really a concern for Jeremy. And same goes for Josh. If Jeremy does pull the Hero Cape off prizes, they can just vacuum it away, no problem. And the Iono is going to go down here. Getting rid of that massive hand for Josh. Hopefully draws into cards they want to see. See what they get here. Boss and some other stuff for Jeremy. Both players working with only 240 damage on their Charizard right now. So I don't know what the best target is, to be honest.
Yeah, no Max Belt makes things less clear for what is objectively the best play. And Josh burning all his counter catchers means even that Rotom might stay alive for quite a while. But I don't think there's any more collapse left for Jeremy. There might be one more, but I doubt it. I think one is pretty normal.
I'll check in just a moment. Yeah, it looks like one collapse for Jeremy. And it looks like Josh is playing Defiance Band, which could matter.
Yeah, that definitely matters.
And Jeremy is not playing any tool that increases damage against opposing Charizard EX.
Gotcha.
And it's a little bit...
Just a choice belt, right?
We see Ghastly Gengar Rare Candy in hand for Josh.
The combo. Josh is ready.
But we saw previously last format that because of Roaring Moon and Charizard typically played Justified Gloves, which doesn't exist anymore, but it was important in those matchups to hit numbers that you couldn't otherwise, especially hitting the Charizard itself. Being able to do that one turn early, one prize early, made a huge difference. And we see here now that Josh has access to that same damage mod, assuming that they're behind in prizes, whereas Jeremy doesn't. So Jeremy will have to more rely on that Devo play, potentially Iono Devo, and going from there.
There's the Turo. Yep.
So there's a Turo.
Damage erased, and the Charmander is going to come up in the active and is probably just going to immediately evolve again here.
The danger of the Turo, though, is Josh is quickly running out of rare candy. So if that Devo comes through and there's not a Charmeleon on the bench, could potentially spell an issue for Josh.
Yeah, we're rapidly approaching that point where that Devo is super, super devastating as the game goes on.
We did, however, just pick up the Charmeleon, which is very good.
Yep.
At least one line of defense against that Devo.
Yeah.
Jeremy might look to maybe boss up that Charmeleon first before going for the Devo play.
And that was Iono'd away, too, so has to still Arven to get the Devo back. And we'll see how Jeremy reacts to this play now.
My guess is you just bossed KO Charmeleon.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the play that you're talking about that was good for Josh earlier when you thought they were the one playing, playing the Devo.
Yes.
It makes a lot of sense.
But now you boss KO Charmeleon, and then assuming Josh doesn't find Super Rod and then Ultra Ball, it means that Charmeleon will be off the field, which means that Iono Devo can stick that much harder, and it can actually be potentially a win condition, because now if you Devo this turn, this Charmeleon just gets to evolve. Like we were mentioning before, Charmeleon has that flare availability, and it's a little bit confusing, but it prevents all effective attacks except damage. And since Devolution is an effective attack that's not damage, it does stop itself from being affected by that Devolution attack.
Yeah, the Evolution card, like you were saying earlier, saw a lot of play last format in various decks. Not seeing a lot of play right now, but Jeremy deciding it's worth it for this event and still keeping it. Again, another tool in the mirror, very useful, very powerful. Where it seems like a lot of decks are kind of just not running any tool for the mirror right now, all these Zard decks. So definitely like having some sort of answer to coming back from weird situations against Zard in the mirror, especially when you think it's going to be like the most popular deck out of UIC.
It's hard because the best card for the mirror is arguably the Devolution, but there are so many outs to it now, the Mist Energy and the Charmeleon, that it feels so much worse than it used to playing that card. But Jeremy still trying to find value out of it, and I think just is attacking the active and not targeting down that Charmeleon. So this Devolution play is still a little bit away from being... We see Turo actually, Josh allowing it to happen.
Normally you cannot do actions after your turn has ended, but Josh is like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. I'm going to win anyway. It's all good.
We see a quick search from Pidgeot EX, grabbing that Super Rod, maybe preparing for potential Charmeleon getting knocked out, or maybe just Super Rodding the 3 fires back in this turn.
Yeah, well, you burned a lot of resources with that Turo, lost a lot of fire energies. Makes a lot of sense. We'll see if Josh just immediately gets another Zard out here. Tries to force Jeremy to just keep gusting to get those other Zards that are already damaged. The other Zard that is already damaged. And we'll see what Josh grabbed in just a moment.
If the Temple of Sinnoh wasn't in play, I think Josh could realistically grab Miss Energy and charge up a new Charizard with Miss Energy on it. But not going to be the case. That Miss Energy has been turned off thanks to the effect of the Temple of Sinnoh. That Miss Energy now only provides colorless energy, which is useless in this deck pretty much. You only play that Miss Energy for the effect of it.
You see the Infernal Rain activate as that other Charizard EX comes down, saying goodbye to both Ghastly and Gengar. I gotta ask Josh if they did anything for them today. It's a card that should be pretty good against control, but it is just very scary, especially against the type of control that people brought today.
We do know, however, Jeremy's other deck is Snorlax. So if it comes down to it, if Jeremy wins this one, this Gengar might see some action.
Yeah, oh, please, Jeremy, please win this one.
We see Josh looking through the discard pile of Jeremy, looking to take the knockout, going down to 2, and it is now or never. Jeremy wants to set up some sort of Devo play, but there is a Charizard on the bench that evolved from Charmeleon, so you can't really quite Devo this turn. Potentially, you could have actually attached 2 Fire Energies to this Pidgeot EX and then attacked with the Pidgeot EX on this turn because it is safe for one more turn. I think I might have liked seeing that. So you attach 2 Fires here, you boss up the bench Charizard with a Charmeleon under it. We know the Turo's gone. And then finally, Devo plus, just swing at it with Pidgeot this turn. And then you have one more turn before Josh takes 2 prizes because none of the, assuming that Josh doesn't play Max Belt.
Right.
I'm not sure actually if Jeremy knows that or not, that Josh doesn't. But if you did know that Josh doesn't play Max Belt, you could attack with this Pidgeot EX onto that bench Charizard, set up both Charizards with enough damage to get knocked out if they get Devoed, and then they would both get knocked out. The Pidgeot would go back into hand. You would Iono and hope that Josh doesn't have access to Rare Candy.
Right.
And in that case, I think you actually have a solid chance of winning the game, but you have to attack that Charizard, that bench Charizard this turn. It has to be this turn.
Yeah, definitely seems like a strong line. We'll see if Jeremy goes for it or can even pull it off in the first place. Pidgeot, being quick search, being able to grab anything, does make it possible.
I think I see a boss in hand already.
Right. Yeah, this is tough. Jeremy thinking through is about to play the boss, figuring out if that's the line he wants to go down.
Speaking of deck experts, Jeremy, obviously a very good player, but he is a deck expert, I think, and not in Charizard. I would say recently it's been Guardy, right? For Jeremy?
Sure. Yeah, he plays a lot of Guardies here at the locals. I think, I'm trying to remember the last deck I saw him play that wasn't Guardy, but I think I've only seen him play Guardy.
So not bringing the Guardy today. We'll see. Looks like still eyeing down what to do here. It's got to be the Charizard. I can't imagine any other winning line besides that one. I feel like you have to attack that Charizard somehow, some way.
Jeremy really thinking it through here. Kind of have to think multiple turns ahead here to make sure that it works out. Is going to boss it.
Maybe a little bit worried about the Max Belt play. We know it doesn't exist from our side of the table, right, for Josh. But Jeremy hasn't seen an ace spec yet, so unless they've talked about their list, could potentially be scared of this Pidgeot getting knocked out. Trying to think about if there was any way to pull that play off while Ionoing at the same time, maybe. But instead, no, just going to go for that boss's orders, going to quick search this turn, going to slam into this Charizard with that Burning Darkness, set up the Devo play. It's got to, I mean, Josh has got to see it happening now that this boss has been activated, now that this new fresh Charizard is getting damaged. Does Josh go ahead and use the vacuum on the Sinnoh to make Mist Energy an option? That seems decent.
Seems just needs the pieces in hand to do it. Needs to get Mist and Vacuum ready to go. Again, Pidgeot gets one of them, so you just got to get the other one. Arvin gets you half there.
Yeah.
So, and I think we're going to see a Burning Darkness coming soon here to do a whopping 300 damage. Is it 300? Math?
Yes.
Yeah, 300. Because, 330 at one price. Josh lining up the dice. Jeremy going to thin out a little more. You're going to Ultra Ball away the Luminion and the Rotom V.
The interesting thing about the 300 versus 330 is actually, in this scenario, 300 might be better than just taking the knockout. Because if you were to take the knockout, Josh would just be a boss away from winning the game, right? Just have to bring up the Pidgeot and then take the last 2 prizes. So not knocking out the Zard actually lowers Josh's damage, so it ends up being better for Jeremy that it is 30 damage short, funnily enough.
Yeah, again, what we were talking about, just how weird this mirror is and how many layers you have to think of. It's one of those mirrors that like feels bad to play because sometimes it just feels like stuff happens and sometimes it gets really wacky, especially when everyone's playing Devolution. But there's a reason these players are good and they know what they're doing. So, the Mist.
We see Mist Energy,
Pidgeot.
but Vacuum hasn't been played yet. I wonder if these players are remembering.
Oh, just thinking about it. Okay.
Thinking about where to place it, but still grabbing it off the Pidgeot.
Yeah, it's a tough call. We'll see what Josh decides to do here.
But the Sinnoh is still in play.
Yeah, it depends on if the Vacuum's ready to go.
Do we have Arvin in hand? I saw the Vacuum in deck, that's for sure. But we might have Arvin in hand to grab the Vacuum.
Is going to go on the benched Zard EX. And she's going to attack.
So there's two questions here. Did Josh notice the Sinnoh in play? And
Did Josh
now,
notice their Sinnoh in play?
now, does Jeremy notice the Sinnoh in play?
Yeah, does Jeremy capitalize here? We'll see. He's going to immediately go for it. Yeah. Oh! Realized it. Is trying to walk it back.
Jeremy, we see some animated faces on the board right now. Josh realizing that they did not play down Collapse Stadium, which changes the game completely. Jeremy being a good sport and allowing it, saying, all right, you got me. All right.
I hear a lot of laughter downstairs.
It does help that this game doesn't matter for Jeremy. So I think
that's why Jeremy shouldn't allow it, just to get the moral victory here, right?
Get the moral victory. Yeah. Be like, nope, you can't.
Again, like we were saying, Jeremy's probably just going to be scooping to Josh here to lock up top cut for Josh, or even taking an ID would work too.
Yes.
It just depends if Josh cares about like seeding and depending on how the other matches shake out.
So we see the counter catcher now. I mean, at this point, and the Roxanne.
And the Roxanne.
At this point, because of that Sinnoh bump, it looks hard for Jeremy to really win this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're hoping for the ability to Diva with a one prizer, but even that, I guess
even that's tough. Yeah,
even that, Josh could still win with the right Roxanne combination. We just need one energy plus Pidgeot, or something like Boss plus Pidgeot, quick search for an energy to retreat this Pidgey.
All right, Roxanne resolving now. Jeremy gets to draw 6 cards. Josh only draws a measly 2 cards, only activatable when your opponent has 3 prize cards remaining or less. So couldn't have played it earlier, but could have played it. No, yeah, couldn't have played it earlier, but can play it now. Has the Devo. Can still pop the Devo here and achieve something at least. So is going to Devo and take 1 prize card and remove all the Pidgeots from play. Josh now needs another rare candy in order to get another Pidgeot EX rolling.
Yeah, this play does make sense because now we see the Arven.
Oh, okay.
Is there a switch in deck? Rare candy, the Pidgeot.
Yeah,
and then you can just retreat and take the knockout. So Josh will get the first win in this best of 3, and now has to switch. What's the other deck that Josh is playing?
Josh is playing Chien-Pao, I want to say. That sounds correct.
So I guess Jeremy will probably switch to Snorlax. Is my expectation.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. But I think that match kind of proved a little bit about why Zard players have been taking Devo out of their list.
Yeah.
The Miss Energy
makes
and the Charmeleon, it makes it difficult. It makes it pretty tough to get the full value out of that Devo. We saw Jeremy get some value out of it in the end game, but still, it's not quite the card that it used to be, of course, right?
Yeah, things have changed. This matchup will be potentially interesting. It depends on how things kind of shake out, because this Chien-Pao list is, like every other one, it is teched to some degree.
I see.
For lags. Now, is it going to be teched enough? I don't know, but is it teched enough to win 1 of 2 games? Maybe. Maybe it's enough. We're going to see the Minior come into play here. This is its ability, Far Flying Meteor. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon's on your bench, you can attach a card to it. It'll go up into the active slot, and it also one-shots a non-charmed, non-tooled Snorlax. So the Snorlaxes only have 150 HP. Minior's gravitational tackle does 20 times each retreat cost for your opponent's active Pokemon. And the Lax has a massive retreat cost of 4. It's weak to fighting, so it does 160. Now, the reason why people say this doesn't like auto-win control, why a lot of people don't just tech this in, even though it's a 1 card that can help with the matchup, is because, as long as the control player actually gets rolling, all they need to do is just keep attaching tools, penny, attach tool, penny, because you're not one-shotting. And they also have ways to, keep the Minior active. Some lists will have Mawile as well. And if you trap the Minior with your Mawile, then that immediately stops how effective it is.
I think that's the main reason why Minior isn't being seen more, because actually, if your opponent plays Mawile, it's actually counterproductive to win Minior. It actually loses you the game instead of winning you the game. The penny stuff, I think Snorlax, for the most part, they don't have the resources to infinitely penny over and over again. But
they can buy enough time to
They can buy some time, that's true. So looking at Jeremy's list, there is no Mawile. It's just a pretty stock standard Snorlax.
Okay, so this is different than the control list we saw from Sky earlier today. It is just stall / block lax.
Pure block lax. And I think Minior excels in that type of matchup, especially. You don't really have any way to punish this Minior. The best you can do is use this Mimikyu, I would say, against the Zard player, and then hope. But even Mimikyu, it's hard without the Pidgeot because you don't get access to exactly the right cards you want at the right time. I think there's no... I need to double check, but I don't think there's a Defiance Vest in the list.
Sure.
So this Charmeleon doing 50 could be enough to get through Mimikyu eventually. So we'll see.
We'll see. And yeah, I don't know if Jeremy I don't know if Jeremy's actually switching here. It looks like Jeremy might just be playing the Zard here.
Okay.
Into this Chien-Pao, yeah.
I think maybe Jeremy might note the fact that there's a Minior in the deck, and that could be a reason why you don't want to switch just yet.
Yeah, you know you have to win anyway with both your decks.
That's true.
You might as well just try to see if you can get the win out here really quickly.
Yeah.
And worry about it later.
Could end up being a tie situation. So if you want to guarantee a win, you might as well do it with the stronger of your two decks to make sure you have at least a chance of tying instead of going 0-2. Looking at the Chien-Pao list, though, everything seems pretty standard besides that Minior.
Yeah, the recurring theme today is nobody's playing Canceling Clone at all.
That's true.
Nobody believes in it.
Interestingly enough.
Yeah. And yeah, when we interviewed Jared earlier, we kind of talked about why he didn't believe in it, and it looks like a lot of people have similar reasoning, basically. Just kind of a lot to ask for, a lot of combo pieces together. And it looks like, yeah, it's just going to be Chien-Pao versus Zard here. Josh up 1 game. Just needs to win 1 more here. Has the
has triple Poppin ready to show us Jeremy.
I've seen Josh play 2 games today. This is not the first time he's had 3 Buddy Poppin in hand.
Is it? Oh, man.
So we're starting with the Shivery Chill.
For Jeremy, Shivery Chill for Josh. 3 Buddy Poppins in hand, 1 Buddy Poppin in prizes. Slow rolling Jeremy, showing showing them 3 Buddy Poppins, way too many, but this is pretty much the dream. This is all you could ask for.
Can grab the Minior now. You throw that on.
Can you? How much HP does that thing
70.
have? Does it actually only have 70? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, you can grab Minior. This isn't the matchup you want it for, but you can just pull it out of your deck and put it into your hand. Actually, 1 Bidoof is prize, so these Poppins aren't going to get...
And 1 Friggy prize, too. So
these Poppins aren't going to get 4 Pokemon.
No, they're thinking about it.
You can put it in hand, Josh. I guess you don't want to for Barrel next turn, probably.
No, Buddy's to bench.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. In that case, just grabbing the 3, Ultra Balling away for either Greninja or maybe a Barrel for next turn.
Josh is vibing. They're having the time of their lives right now. Just all the cards in the world that you can possibly want.
Josh feeling pretty good being locked in for that top 4. Almost definitely. Unless Jeremy wants to go back on his word and try to beat Josh here in 2 games back to back.
See the Ultra Ball be resolved there. Greninja's ready to rock with that concealed cards. We'll see if some cards are getting drawn there. Yep, concealed cards activating. Other than that, yeah, this is very normal Chien-Pao list. I think the only thing different is like the Minior. Oh, have they all been playing Ditto today? I don't think so, right?
Not all of them, I'm not sure, but I know Jared did.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think Ditto is super common, but yeah, I was talking to Tyler saying against Jared, the Flutter Mane was irrelevant because it stopped the Ditto from transforming.
I see.
Which is
that's kind of neat.
Super hilarious. And punishes you even more for playing that Ditto, so kind of scary.
I think we have seen some Asian box lists running like 3 or 4 Flutter Mane, which kind of seems excessive, but it does maximize your chance of starting the Flutter Mane, which can matter in some niche scenarios like that. If you start Ditto or you start
getting hand reveal. Josh is opening it like a pack opening.
Yeah, Josh booster pack opening. Chien-Pao booster pack. Oh!
The ultra rare Iron Bundle with its hyper blower ability, which can be relevant sometimes.
In the meantime, Jeremy opening up that Arven, the Nest Ball, Rotom with the Seal Stone. You don't normally get to see that. It's been a couple Zard games where we haven't seen Rotom Seal Stone come down turn 1.
Yeah, even though it's hard to get it.
It is hard now without the VIP pass. Charizard list now running 3-4 Nest Balls to make this play happen.
Yeah, I think it was literally Arven for Nest Ball and Seal Stone just to get out this specific line, which is tough. It's tough for sure.
But now here's the question. Like, do we have the resources to get Manaphy on bench? Actually, Manaphy's prized.
Manaphy is
something
prize,
we
which is
didn't
why I
notice.
think that's why Josh just cheered. I think that might be the reason.
So we see Poffin grabbed off of the Seal Stone.
Yeah, just getting
for
two
Charmanders.
Oh, this is so tough.
So you have to play the rest of the game without Pidgey, and that, I mean,
Yeah, Jeremy did submit this as the other Pidgey, so I think that was just the deck list submission error. It might actually be the Call for Family one in reality,
I see.
but we'll see if there's even an energy
It
or a
could
Call
be
for Family here. But you probably need to instant charge, honestly, with
It
this
could
hand.
be an under-the-table Pidgey proxy.
Yeah. Jeremy reading the Hyper Blower ability. Pretty good card. From Josh's hand, no less.
Yes.
Not from the bench. He's going to attach retreat, yeah, and it's just going to go into the Charmander. And I think we're going to see an instant charge in a moment.
So here as Josh, Ninja seems really good, as you'd expect. You get to take out this lone Pidgey and make sure that Jeremy has no access to that extremely valuable Pidgeot. And you get to take another prize on top of it. 2 prizes for 1. Sounds like a good deal to me.
Yeah, Josh has everything that they need in hand. Has the Iridic. What is that? Oh, is that a TSS marker? I think it is.
Looks like it might be, yeah.
So yeah, Shivery Chill done. Has the Iridic to get the classic Candy Excalibur combo. And I think we're going to see Greninja scoop some prizes here in just a moment.
Wait a sec. It doesn't say TSS before their names.
They didn't ask for it,
okay.
so I mean, I don't know. They had the option. But yeah, Moonlight Shuriken's coming down here pretty soon. Actually, you know what? I should mention what they actually put down for their names is they wanted to flip their names. So Jeremy put down Josh. Josh put down Jeremy as their preferred display name.
I see.
That
would have been a
so
little
I think that just
confusing.
shows more so that they're friends and they're chill
Yes.
with this happening. Even though Jeremy has had not great luck today.
Rare Candy, Excalibur, off the Irida. Josh has everything ready to go. Just needs a couple more energy to get that Moonlight Shuriken play off and to be way in ahead into the lead for this match. Speaking of Jeremy's bad luck, though, I think he did mention to me that he's gotten donked 4 times today.
Dude.
Which is a lot.
What?
That's more than we've seen on stream, so...
Jeez, that's brutal. Yeah, we were saying, too, like, Stall seemed like a perfectly fine play for this event, too. Like, there's some text, but not, like, overly teched or anything. No Lugias surrounding whatsoever, and doesn't matter if you get donked, though.
Yes, that's true. I actually think Pure Stall, with the amount of text, like Josh, for example, brought Minior and Gengar, right?
Yeah.
Pure Stall doesn't really have answers to either. Whereas at least Sky's version of Stall can do something.
Can do stuff, can Lost City stuff,
Yeah.
can deal with a lot of those basic options that people try to do.
My theory is that that will also be the case going into EUIC, where I don't think Pure Snorlax will be that great, but we'll see. Still a week to go before that event. So
Still early, yep. And we're going to see the Pidgey and the Charmander go down with that Moonlight Shuriken attack. Going back over to Jeremy now. Has a big hand.
I see a Rare Candy and I see an Ultra Ball, so we do have an attack of some sort.
Oh, man, that hand was so good if that Moonlight Shuriken did not happen. Had multiple Rare Candies, had the Pidgeot, Ultra Ball, everything.
Manaphy. If only Manaphy was not hiding in the prizes. This is like the Legends Arceus Manaphy quest, where you need to do all sorts of nonsense to try and catch your Manaphy. It's locked away.
Enlighten me, I don't remember this quest.
It's basically, it's a hidden quest where the game doesn't tell you anything about how to get it.
Okay.
It's like a hint in Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. You have to go to the library and you have to read a book, and the book makes some like vague notions of you have to bring like certain things to your party. So you have to bring like...
Oh, is it that super long book? No, that's a different book in BDSP.
I'm not sure, but you have to read this book to like get a hint of how to catch Manaphy, and like it vaguely explains that you have to have like a the Overquill in your party and some other Pokemon in your party. You have to like cross this bridge or like cross this like arch at the right time of day, and suddenly Manaphy will be unlocked for you in a cove. That's this Manaphy. This is a Legends Arceus Manaphy. You can't get it. It's stuck. You need to recite like some ancient text to be able to find it.
Yeah, well, and you know what? Legends Arceus, Hisuian Heavy Ball is how you would get it. That's from the same region. I think there's a correlation there.
But not in the deck.
It's not in the deck list, no. But Jeremy could take it from Josh's deck list and then play it and then be good to go. So
I see.
We'll see if Josh helps Jeremy out there with like that.
Jeremy using
Josh keep accidentally revealing the Iron Bundle.
Jeremy using that Infernal Rain from Charizard EX to charge up both the Charizard EX and the Charmander on the bench. Going to take one knockout here somewhere, somehow, onto the Chien-Pao potentially. Are you sure we want to do Chien-Pao? I think I actually would just do Bidoof and just hope that Josh can't play the game, to be honest. I think Jeremy's thinking about it still. That's why we haven't seen one switch into play yet. Yeah, I personally would just go for the Bidoof and just say, I don't think you can play the game without the barrel.
He's going to go for the Chien-Pao, though, and he's going to just knock it out immediately.
About it, potentially. Okay, yeah, 2 prizes for Jeremy.
Oh, no, even the TSS marker is staying in the discard pile.
Back on over to Josh. Josh draws return. The Chien-Pao is knocked out. The Bidoof is spared. Only one Bidoof in play because the other is prized.
Gonna attach retreat. Oh no, sorry, conceal cards. That catches the marker.
Yes.
Ambi barrel immediately. Yeah, punished for not getting that Bidoof out.
The more I've tested Chien-Pao, and I haven't tested it much, right? I've only tested it a little bit. The more I test Chien-Pao, the more terrible it feels when you don't have a barrel in play. So that's why, as Jeremy, I definitely would have gone for that Bidoof there. Even though you take one less prize, even though you leave a Chien-Pao on board, which is a pretty valuable resource in and of itself. If there's ever a situation where obviously, if there's a situation where there's only one Bax caliber and no Frigibacks, you take that. Next best option, taking a lone barrel, in my opinion.
Yeah, it definitely makes a lot of sense. And a lot of your comeback options against a deck like Chien-Pao, Iona, Roxanne, all just get neutralized super hard by the B-Barrel. So the more you can do to deal with it, the better. Josh did actually use the Iron Bundle that they've been hyping up this entire time. And there is now one prize active that could easily get Iron Hands. I think Josh is ironing up. Has all the energy needed in the discard as lightning and a bunch of water. Yep.
Okay.
So just needs the superior. I don't know if there's one in hand. Doesn't look like it, but can still try to draw into it. And yeah, I can just nest ball for the Iron Hands if needed. One of the big benefits too that was actually relevant in that game I was talking about where I saw Josh burn 3 Buddy Poffins is the fact that Buddy Poffins exist means it's really easy to get those B-Barrel draws. And that's actually what happened in that game. They just burned 3 like on the last turn of the game just to draw more cards.
That does make sense.
It's really useful, really good. Josh wants to amp you very much here. Did go ahead and bench it, and now still has to hit the pieces, but does have Ultra Ball, does have Buddy Poffin, can basically empty out this entire hand if desired. Oh, attaches the water for turn. Oh, no, that's probably super cold, but Ultra Ball going down, get rid of Buddy Poffin and the Frigibacks. That was grabbed off prizes earlier, and it's going to grab Chien-Pao.
I think actually takes that back and grabs nothing.
Oh, yeah, it makes sense. So if is going to Super Rod here. So what do you do if you whiff Superior here as Josh?
I think you just have to send up a 1 prizer and hope that Jeremy doesn't have boss to go to even prizing, basically force Jeremy to take an off turn. The way this matchup works is Chien-Pao wants to go 2-2-2, but sometimes if you can't hit those 2s back to back to back like you would want to, your alternative is to make Charizard along the line somewhere have to take one of your 1 prizers. So right now, both players are at 4 prizes. Both players technically are 2 attacks away from winning the game. But if Josh can force Jeremy to take a 1 prizer, Jeremy would then need to attack 3 times to win the game. And Josh would still only have to attack twice, which means Josh would still have the initiative as long as he draws into, as long as they draw into what they need.
Yeah. Pokestop going down there. Pokestop, I don't think we've actually talked about what it does, but it's popped up quite a couple times today. Really useful card in a deck like Chien-Pao where you do run so many items, and you also run the Cypher Maniacs code breaking. I think that's what it's called.
Yes, we see the superior energy retrieval.
All right, so
off the Pokestop.
Iron Hands is happening. We are all going to get amped very much here. And Jake is somewhere crying about it.
Here's the thing. If Jeremy knocked out the Bidoof last turn, sure, it would be kind of annoying that you were at 5 prizes instead of 4, but your win conditions are just so much better.
Right.
With
what would Josh do this turn without the B-Rail draw?
Yes.
Nothing.
Wouldn't do anything this turn. Probably wouldn't be able to do anything in the next turn. And even if Josh were able to do something this turn, you can Iono and knock out. So, bam. Amp you very much. Taking 2 prizes. Josh down to 2. Jeremy still at 4. What can Jeremy do to respond here?
Get the KO, and Iono and Pride. Or Roxanne.
Countercatcher plus Iono/Roxanne makes sense here because this Iron Hand can't do anything on this board currently.
Sure. What did that say? I don't think that... that's something different.
TSS win.
Oh, okay. The Roxanne is coming down.
So Roxanne,
There's a technical win condition here.
we can also Pokestop to dig for Countercatcher further. We see one in the prizes, so I don't know if there are any left in the deck, to be honest. We saw Josh bust out that third Countercatcher. I don't think that's the case for Jeremy. I can check, though.
I would be very surprised. What was Josh's boss count, too? I'm so curious what the counts were to make that work, because 3 Countercatcher is so aggressive for Charizard. And is gonna... did tap the B-Barrel?
Jeremy doesn't have 3 Countercatcher. He has 4.
Oh, okay.
Wait. No, sorry. I might be looking at the Snorlax list. Never mind. That makes sense.
That would have...
Jeremy has 2. Jeremy has 2. Josh has 3. And then, of course, Snorlax has 4.
Gotcha.
So
okay, there's the Minior. The GOAT.
There's 2 Countercatchers in Jeremy's deck. One is in the prizes. I don't know if the other has been discarded yet. I don't think it has. So do we see it, or are we just going to take the knockout on the Iron Hand? I actually think if there isn't a Countercatcher in deck, Jeremy should just Pokestop.
Right.
But just going to take the first 2 prizes and hope that this barrel doesn't get Josh anywhere.
First 3 cards don't look great. I didn't see what the last card was, but the first 2 just being the Minior and another Pokestop. Not super useful. Josh thinking about things. Thinking about ripping the stop right here. Going back on it.
It's really interesting, the sequencing of this deck in the late game, because Pokestop adds cards to your hand, but it could also potentially burn cards from your hand if you get into a Superior or an Ultra Ball.
It's tough, yeah, figuring out which way to go. It depends a lot on what you know is in the deck, what you know if there's an Iono play, knowing what's at the bottom. Is going to be Barrel.
And
that would have been a pretty good Pokestop.
Countercatcher and Superior.
And yeah, I had to play the Minior. So the Minior did a C play regardless here. It was very exciting. I want to see a Gravitational Tackle come into play later. Is going to conceal cards now.
Thankfully for Josh, this isn't the end. This isn't the last turn. They can still stall one more turn by refusing to put down any 2-prize Pokemon. Jeremy would just have to sit there and waste 3 cards off the
draw
Pokestop.
3?
But no way to get Chien-Pao. No way to get Chien-Pao right now.
Yeah, literally every item except for the ones you actually wanted this turn, pretty much. Gonna play the Heavy Ball. Gonna grab the Bidoof.
You could attack with Greninja and set up the Charizard to do a little bit more damage to it, to make it a little bit more awkward. Make it easier to follow it up.
Yeah, definitely makes a lot of sense here.
And you know that your opponent doesn't have access to Pidgeot, so would make it harder for Jeremy to disrupt your hand. That could be a saving grace here for Josh. On the other hand, though, if you do attack with this Greninja to make it easier to make your Charizard their Charizard have less health, you are giving up concealed card for next turn because presumably Jeremy would just knock it out. Or maybe that's fine because you don't want Jeremy to boss your barrel, so maybe the alternative of leaving your Greninja out in the active is okay. It's a close call.
Jeremy does have boss ready to go in hand, too. Does have option. Oh, 2 boss. Is that 2 boss? No, I think it's just 1. Yeah, it's just 1 in a Turo.
Something to consider is that you might... Something that I just thought of for a quick second is that if you take a prize, normally you're like, oh, well, I get to draw a card. That's not a bad thing, right? It might be meaningful that I get to draw 1 extra card. But in this case, Josh actually knows exactly what their prizes are because of the Heavy Ball, and the prizes are useless. So
yeah.
in this case, it might actually be better not to take a prize and just do 90-90 to the 2 Vs.
Right.
And we did actually see Josh pull Countercatcher off, which means that Jeremy can't really take an extra prize. I mean, we'll see if Jeremy has the option to Iono at the same time, but going down to 1 can be pretty dangerous against Josh, who would just need to Countercatcher up this Rotom and then barely have any energy at all to knock it out.
Spirit Energy Retrieval coming down here for Josh. Gonna grab 4 of those energies from the discard pile.
Oh, actually, something that can happen is Josh could do 90 to the Rotom, and then next turn, if Jeremy takes a KO, could Countercatcher and knock out with Baxcalibur. Buster
Right.
Tail. So it doesn't even need to find the Chien-Pao at that point if that's the line that they're going for.
Yeah. Jeremy does have the Turo ready, though, too.
That's true.
If that does happen. Because I don't think Jeremy necessarily needs to play boss here. Can, though, to get rid of the Excalibur and apply some pressure. But Josh has, like, candy in hand already and might already... shouldn't have it out to the
You gotta get rid of the
but...
barrel. The barrel is so huge. Actually, Josh will just take the damage on the Charmander instead.
Yep. And did pull the heavy ball, so can just burn that at least.
Back on over to Jeremy.
Did top deck Lumineon V. So could get a different supporter if desired here.
How many cards are in Josh's hand? If it's not many,
it's got to be a decent amount, though. No, because Josh did like everything last turn. Got to draw 3 off the Pokestop, conceal cards.
Pokestop, Rare Candy, Ultra Ball.
Pretty good.
You see Lumineon in hand, so could still grab Iono or Roxanne here.
Countercatcher online.
Just need to stall one more turn. Countercatcher up Barrow or Countercatcher up Excalibur, depending on how many rare candies have been burned, can be useful. The way I see it, I think if only one candy is gone, I'd probably KO the barrel.
Right.
And if 2 candies are gone, maybe it's better to KO the backs.
It should just be the one candy.
Yeah.
Jeremy talking it through, thinking things, asking Josh for opinions on what to do. Surely. Speaking at the opponent's deck.
Judge, hello. So we're seeing Jeremy look through the discard here. Although we make jokes here, these two are great friends, and at the end of the day, this tournament is serious. We are playing for real money here. We are playing for a lot of pride, but can't forget to mention that next week is an even bigger tournament. Not to shade Chicago Clash at all. I love it here. But EUIC, really massive. So these players want to get the most out of this stream match, want to get the most out of the experience, try to make sure that they know exactly what they're doing should they play this matchup.
And the boss Excalibur is going to be the play there.
Excalibur. I didn't see how many candies were used, but
I just know there's one in hand. And
there's the counter catcher. Jeremy showing it, wanting to Roxanne and counter catcher at the same time, but not quite being able to because of that prize. So it's all up to this play. Josh already has Ultra Ball ready to go.
So yeah.
But needs Chien-Pao and the backs.
Right.
Both.
Is, pretty close, but not quite there then.
It is a Buddy Poffin.
A little peek. Yep. You saw your prizes 5 minutes ago, Josh.
You got to burn it to draw more cards off of a barrel. I think this barrel has put in so much work this game.
Yeah.
I really wonder what would have happened if it got targeted down earlier. But that Pokestop might be enough.
That gets you the Chien-Pao.
Gets you Chien-Pao, and you can Ultra Ball for backs. So
I think
feels
that's it then.
bad. You discarding 2 supporters feels bad, but I think that might honestly be enough. It might be fine that you did discard the 2 supporters. You can Nest Ball for the Chien-Pao. You can retreat into it. You can Shivery Chill. You have Ultra Ball for the Excalibur. You can Rare Candy into it, and you have the Superior in hand. So that might be it. 90 damage already on the Charizard. That Hailblade should seal it.
Yeah, don't even need the full 6 energy with that damage set up. So Josh, not even needing an actual 2-0 victory here. Looks like they're about to walk into one anyway.
Yes. Excalibur grabbed with the Ultra Ball. Played expertly by Josh here. I mean, this is the only scenario I've seen in recent memory of Chien-Pao hitting 2 supporters off Pokestop and being perfectly fine with it. Feels good.
Usually not what you want to see. There's the Superior Energy Retrieval going down. Getting rid of a Water and a Nest Ball. Chien-Pao already in the active, ready to roll. 1 Water on the Greninja, so just needs those 3. And it has 6 at hand. Okay.
Jeremy's saying you have to claim Super Cold. You have to. You have.
Hellblade for the Minior.
Yeah, Minior's coming in through,
go.
and then we're gonna see a retreat into Chien-Pao, potentially. Even though I think we already retreated this turn, I assume we'll let it slide.
Oh,
Jeremy's
calling.
baited Josh into the retreat play, and now is calling his opponent out, and then giving him the win regardless.
So congratulations to Josh. Josh is going to also be in our top cut. I'm not sure if all the matches have resolved already, but we can go and take a quick peek at the standings. That should have been the last match or one of the last matches here. It looks like some matches are still resolving right now. So we'll take some time to go wait for that interview with Josh and I guess also Jeremy.
Group B is really undecided because Michael could lose to Sky and they would both be 3-2. And Ryan,
are they playing right now?
Yes.
Oh,
and
geez.
Ryan is playing Jake. And Ryan could also move up to 3-2, so it could be a three-way tie for second, potentially a three-way tie for second. But if Michael wins or even ties, that would lock Michael in for second. And then we'll talk about tiebreakers when we come to it. Hopefully we don't have to deal with any complicated ones. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
And then Group A is a little bit more decided, but not completely, I think. Depends on how Hector and Edwin do.
Right, yeah. Are they playing right now?
No, they played on stream.
Hector played...
I think Hector might be playing Tyler right now.
Okay, yeah. And Tyler said in the interview, no, I'm going to try to go 5-0. So,
okay. I like it. I respect it.
Huge respect there. That definitely impacts standings and stuff. Kind of a side effect of this... I mean, they have like 10 minutes. We have time, So I guess we're going to game 3 because of the Minior error.
Minior error, yes. So just to explain the audience what exactly happened there, just to recap, because we didn't talk about it fully because we thought it was a joke. But what happened was Josh retreated the ninja to start off the turn into Chien-Pao to Shivery Chill. And then Jeremy seems like he recommended that Josh attach the Minior, switch the Minior in, and then retreat it. And then once that happened, Josh then could not retreat again.
Right.
In which case, Jeremy would take the last prize and end the game, in theory. I'm not sure if that was Jeremy actually baiting Josh into a loss, or Josh was like, haha, I guess I'll lose this way. It's funny.
He just didn't realize.
I'm not sure.
I mean, it worked out because everyone's still finishing out their matches anyway,
true.
so it's fine.
Only 4 minutes left. Snorlax doesn't have a win condition in 4 minutes, but they're going fast. They're blitzing. This Bidoof is already stuck in the active.
I mean, it could be a tie.
Minior.
I don't know. That might
Minior
impact
coming through.
Stuff.
Prime catcher onto the Snorlax. Ooh, Ditto. What are we dittoing for? Chien-Pao for energy. Yep. And then bam. Shivery Chill onto the Minior.
Josh wants to win this.
Minior using that far-flying Meteor wants to go 2-1 fair and square. Irida for Boffin, Excalibur, something.
I've never seen someone play so fast.
Ooh. We see the Boffin being played for multiple Frigibacks. Minior going to come in, swing in with that far-flying Meteor. And I mean...
Josh is saying, yeah, I don't care what's on my bench. It's fine.
Yeah.
I have Minior. Who cares?
Did we just Poffin for Greninja?
No, that was the water Pokemon from Irida.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Josh was going to grab Bax, I think, and then took it back.
Okay, that makes sense. So we have 2 energy. Oh, we're actually going to discard 1 for the concealed cards. Minior flying in with that far-flying Meteor and using that gravitational tackle. As we said, doing the perfect amount of damage to knock out a Snorlax without any tools with it. Jeremy using that Arven, grabbing the Bravery Charm. I guess that's an interesting loss that I had not considered for Snorlax, is that you don't play VIP Pass anymore. You can't play VIP Pass anymore. And it wasn't like an essential part of the Snorlax deck. Sometimes they didn't play it at all, but one VIP Pass was common to grab with the Arven.
Yeah, you got your Rotom and one of your Laxes, and then you're ready to play the game, right? And yeah, just not having that anymore kind of stinks. Kind of stinks. It's funny. We actually have a tech in this list for Mirror, the Patrol Cap, but I don't know if it helped Jeremy too much today, especially with how few people actually play Control.
That's true. Yeah, I think Sky is in the other group, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So we see Jeremy instant charge for 3. The Snorlax is in the active. Josh using that supporter. There's Cypher Maniacs code breaking. Probably just going to attack with the Minior again. The Snorlax won't get KO'd, but I think just putting on pressure is enough.
Yeah, already burned the Prime Catcher early, so not going to be able to gust up another Lax for quite a while here.
Let's see.
Earthen Vessel coming down. To get more of those energies ready to keep Minioring, keep gravitational tackling as much as possible. I'm glad we're at least seeing one of these control techs actually be relevant today.
It doesn't really work against Mawile, but there's no Mawile in this
No
deck,
Mawile.
so
This is yeah, Josh didn't get into the group with the Mawile, so
true.
that might be relevant though if Sky does make top cut and they meet up.
Yes, there is
in
potential,
matchup there.
depending on how the tiebreakers play out.
Yep.
We see Heavy Ball being played, 47 seconds left on the clock. These players wanting to show off as much as they can in the spotlight, on stream, playing out this game 3.
Counter Catcher again on the Friggy. There's a limit to how much water energy is also going to be played here too. There's only so much water energy.
Oh my god,
Oh!
5 items off the Misfortune Sisters? I don't think I've seen that.
I have never seen that ever in my entire life. That is ridiculous. That is what everyone dreams of. And those were some decent items too. I think there was 2 nest balls, but I think the other ones were good. And
Boss's orders. Quick, 12 seconds left. Luxurious Cape, instant charge. Bam, Josh, water energy, attach, 160, going on back to Jeremy, drawing another card off the top of the deck, 5 seconds left. Counter Catcher up, Frigibacks. Retreat, Penny, the Snorlax, attach Luxurious Cape, and then instant charge, but then
I don't think it's enough turns for Josh. Yep.
On to turn 0 now. Gravitational tackle for 160. Not enough turns to end the game fully. So technically, these 2 players will end on a tie. Jeremy might just concede regardless, but
a whopping 6 or 5 energy on this Minior at this point. What's the normal energy count? Like 10? Or no, less than that, right?
in Chien-Pao?
Yeah. I don't
8?
remember. 8?
Yeah.
So there's technically a limit to how much
I'll
energy.
check.
There is the 1 lightning, though, too.
I'll check. I think it's 8 and 1.
That sounds right. So now that the timer is turned off, we are in turns after time. There are 3 turns total, not including turn 0. So Jeremy's now on turn 1. Josh will be turn 2. Jeremy turn 3. Pokegear coming down, allowing you to check the top 7 cards for a supporter. Not sure if anything was grabbed boss's orders there, and Josh is preemptively moving up to Frigibacks, knowing that it's getting bossed.
It is, in fact, 8 and 1 energy.
It is 8 and 1. Okay. Now we're on to Josh for turn 2. Oh, no. I mean, Josh drew for turn early, but it doesn't matter. And then there's the instant charge. Now we're back to Josh. Has to just attach to Minior again. And yeah, this is what we were kind of talking about, where it's like, Minior is good. It can win you these games, but it's not a foolproof answer. Because there's a limit to how much energy can even go on this in the first place. And if you don't get enough knockouts in time before you run out of energy, then you just are out. And Jeremy's hitting every single gust possible, every turn. And yeah, this will be the last turn. Irida. I mean, it's such a dire situation for Joss. What do you do here? Like I said, I think the plan is for them to interview each other. We'll see if that actually happens here. But it should be a good time. We'd like to get a little silly, a little lighthearted here. And yeah, just showing the massive hand here for Jeremy. They're just talking about how this finished out, but it's either a tie or a Josh win. I'm not sure exactly what the plan was there. Jeremy does plan to concede. I am hearing word that is the case. So Josh will be 4-1. Should be the 1 seed going into cut.
Yes, should be. So looks like Josh will take the win.
I not to. Winner, not to.
Winner.
Giant so yeah, we can check the results again, see if there is any update yet.
Can we see the standings? Production.
Bam.
And there they are.
The 5-0 from Tyler. Oh my god.
Is able to make it to 5-0.
And Michael did tie against Sky. Probably because playing control.
Yeah, so I think they ended up not finishing, which means Michael is locked in for that second seed.
So our top 4 is going to be Tyler versus Michael. And then, was it Josh against Hector?
Josh versus Hector, because it looked like Edwin could tie Hector at 3-2, but Hector has the head-to-head. So even if Edwin were to win, I think he would lose the head-to-head. So yes, I believe those are our top 4.
I think we are locked then for our top 4. I am so excited to see how it all plays out. There's so much Pokemon still to be played here. We're going to play out every single match on stream, by the way. So even though the semifinals can technically be done simultaneously, like you would see at a TPCI regional, we're actually going to stream it all because I want to make sure everyone can see those big moments here. Tyler going 5-0, kind of ridiculous. It didn't even need to. Could have scooped that game, could have conceded, could have tied, and was like, no, I want a 5-0.
It is a flex. I think there are... And if I were in his shoes, I would consider, if my opponent has a bad matchup to me, I actually want to concede to let them into top cut, so I have a better matchup in top cuts. But I can respect the grind and wanting to go 5-0. Prove yourself to everybody that you're here for a reason. You're better than everyone else. And we'll see if Tyler can prove that once again in the finals. Yeah, and I think just into the field, Tyler seems like his deck is going to be pretty strong, except for Michael. I think Michael might pose the biggest threat to Tyler. And they are meeting up the first round because Chien-Pao obviously poses a lot of problems for the Gouging Fire deck. And then what do you do against Guardy, I guess? Guardy's kind of weird because the Drifloon just easily one-shots all those. Yeah, but you do have to put yourself in a range where as Drifloon you can't get knocked out by Valiant. Yeah. So it's a little awkward there. But you use Chien-Pao to beat the Gouging Fire, and then Guardy just needs to beat but you don't know the Ancient Box. You don't know what Tyler's going to pick. Sure. you still have to win. Yes. Well, even if you do lose the going first pick, you still can win the next game with the Chien-Pao. True. And then be there. That's true. There. So we're going to go to a break now and set up that winner's interview with the one and only Josh and also probably Jeremy. So see you soon.
Everybody, I am here with our winner, Josh Frink. Myself am the loser, Jeremy Gumila, here to interview Josh, filling in for Vic and squad. And Josh, tell me about why you chose to start Manaphy Game 1. Did you just want to copy me, or what was the strat behind that?
Yeah, I saw the Manaphy, and I have a feeling that Jem also opened Manaphy. And as teammates, it only seems fair that we suffer together. Okay, that's fair. That's funny because I actually thought the same thing. I was I feel that Josh is going to open Manaphy, so I should do that. Right. So, okay. So what did you do to prepare for this event specifically? Was there anything in particular you did, or was it kind of just preparing for the next format and bringing some decks you like? I did not prepare. I made a tier list, and I took the 2 decks that I ranked the highest on the tier list, and I brought them to the tournament. All right, love to hear it. So how are you looking to prepare now that EUIC is about a week away? What are you going to do differently? And kind of what decks are you looking at? I don't know. I'll take my games at UIC a little bit more seriously. I'm not playing Minior, bro. I thought everyone was going to play Snorlax. We had a whole tiff about Snorlax in the Discord yesterday. And I was like, okay, everyone's bringing Snorlax, bro. Every single person is bringing Snorlax. So I'm playing 101 Gengar and Minior. Not doing that at EUIC. It's not worth it. Definitely not the play for EUIC. And so you did mention a couple techs such as Minior, Gengar, specifically for this event. In terms of your archetype decision, was that also based off of what you were expecting to see, or did you just go with kind of the 2 most consistent or even matchup spreads? No, I just took the 2 best decks. If I was trying to metagame the event, I probably would have played something different. But I feel like Chien-Pao and Zard can kind of be anything. And also the way the format works with Conquest, right? So if you have 2 decks that say both lose to the same deck, it's good to play both of those things because your opponent has to win with both. And so they can only beat one of your decks with that archetype. And so having generally strong decks that maybe share 1 or 2 matchups that you expect is probably optimal. But I think I have the 2 most boring decks in the tournament. I don't think anyone else played Chien-Pao Zard and no one played Lugia. So yeah, I'm playing the 2 most boring archetypes. And then Minior literally just baited me into losing our game 2. So it was a lie. I was trying to be funny and instead I lost myself game 2. So long story short, Josh doesn't like having fun. Although last night I would disagree.
if you guys think he's no fun based off his deck choices.
Yeah.
So, Josh, I got another question for you. I do know your list because, of course, you shared them with me.
Yeah.
Playing a deck like Chien-Pao where there's a lot of water energy, water attackers, why did you choose not to play Candace as your supporter?
I don't know. Wait, is Candace still legal?
It is.
Oh. Well, shout out Candace. I'm sorry to make the cut. I cut Candace for Minior. So clearly I was punished for making that choice.
Fair. So, long story short, everybody who played Lax, including myself, is the reason that Josh didn't play Candace, so it's our fault.
Right.
Ultimately, well...
Right. My only goal for our stream match was to announce "Amp you very much" so I could go like this.
Yeah. You had a pretty cool opponent, too. I saw he did it back with you. That was pretty nice of him.
No, I didn't like him very much actually. He was kind of mean.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
I guess everything's not as it seems.
Yeah, it's a little awkward actually.
Okay, fair enough. Well, were there any shout-outs you wanted to give for being the winner?
Candace. Yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I promise you I know that the way that we were playing those games was not correct. But yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at DreamJew on Twitter. You can find me on Metafy at Josh-Frink. Shout out TSS.
TSS win. And,
Vic over there.
Yeah, and shout out to Etch and everybody hosting us up. We appreciate you guys sponsoring the event. This was so much fun. And yeah, also shout out to Candace.
Ask Jeremy for what?
Shout outs.
Oh, Jeremy, you want to shout out anybody?
Yeah. So I actually want to shout out my sponsors, the Shuffle Squad. You guys could
sound pretty cool, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys could find me on Twitter at GemGTCG. I do coach on Metafy, do all that stuff. Pretty much all of my Pokemon related stuff is tied into my Twitter and the bio and stuff. So yeah, drop GemGTCG. You could find me everywhere. And shout out to all of the teammates: Cal, Dre, my brother Jarek, Blake, PJ, Zach. And the rest of the gang, and, we're going to keep cooking. We're going to be ready for EUIC next week, and if people at home are watching as well, I hope that this is helpful and we could all do well next weekend.
Yeah, sorry to disappoint. No TSS pregnancy announcement on the stream, but, look
I don't know. I had
look forward to TSS Little League coming next season.
Give me a couple years. We'll be there.
Okay,
I got you.
Bro. Yeah. Top cut?
Yeah,
oh,
and
yeah.
So Josh, as you know, you are paired to Hector, which I believe he will be playing Chien-Pao and Giratina.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about how you feel going into that matchup. And
Free. I'll never lose.
We love that. 100-0.
I might lose. Don't take it.
You guys heard it here first. Josh Frink is making finals. Who are you expecting to see in that finals on the other side of the bracket?
My boy Tyler Matthews, bro.
Let's go.
Running it back with Entei Valiant, except instead of Entei, it's just the older one.
He went from Mid-Tay to gouging Mintay.
Yeah. Also, I'm probably going to lose in top 4. The Tina matchup is, unwinnable for Zard. So, yeah. It was nice to see y'all. I'm going to go home probably soon, so.
Yeah, it's my dog's birthday today, so wish Cookie a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Cookie.
Woo, she turns 2.